Dan Carli.
Sir?
Thanks for coming.
Yes, sir.
Great to have you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
It's been great to get to know you, man.
Oh, you too, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't know you before kind of we started this and heard your name from a lot of people, from
Ah,
Patton and from Prather and
no, yeah.
the Holt. And
No.
so it's been really good to get to know you and your story. You've been in 5 shootings.
Yes, sir.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's a lot, especially for nowadays. That's a lot.
I mean, yeah, and nowadays, when I was on, we would have 5 a year,
hmm
maybe. I mean, maybe 3 to 5 a year in Oklahoma City,
Yeah.
90s, and now it's like but for one officer to have 5,
Yeah.
that's
hmm
that's a lot.
Yeah.
So, I would like to we're gonna talk about one of those shootings.
Okay.
I'd like to kinda go through, kinda get to know you, where the people can get to know you, where you're from. You were an officer in Florida
Yes, sir.
before, Tampa. So I'd like to go through, start growing up. What led you to law enforcement? Did you always want to be a cop? And then we'll kind of get to the point, maybe going to the academy and then into the job.
Yeah. So I was born in Toms River, New Jersey. We moved down to just north of Tampa, down in Florida, when I was like 3 or 4, after my sister was born. Grew up down in Florida. Love Florida. Went to Florida Southern College after high school. Got a bachelor's degree in criminology. Um, After that, I went, well, so what led me to get the bachelor's degree in criminology, there was actually you go into college, I had always been interested in police work and all that stuff. Like growing up, I loved uh, old movies. I say old, they're not that old, but like Die Hard was one of my favorite movies of all time, John McClane. The Lethal Weapons, Cobra with Sylvester Stallone, where he's on the zombie squad, was like always super cool to me. And then TV shows like The Shield and Chips, where they're in like uh, car chases every episode. So like growing up, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like the coolest job ever. And so I went into college, still didn't kind of really know what I was going to do my freshman year. And then I took a class called Policing in American Society. And it was taught by he was a former Secret Service agent. He was a street cop in Baltimore, I believe. And then he went to the Secret Service. His name was Jack Gillen. He was actually on Nancy Reagan's protection detail.
Okay.
And then after he retired from that, he became the PIO, the public information officer for the Lakeland Police Department, which is Lakeland, Florida, which is where my college was. And so then he taught that class, Policing in American Society. And I took that, and then just like hearing all his stories and then going through that class, I was like, all right, that's it. And so then I became a criminology major, graduated in 4.5 years, took a little extra. And then after that, graduated at the end of '08, and then the beginning of '09, I went into the police academy down in Florida and graduated from the police academy. And at the time that I went in, it was during the recession in Florida, and Florida got hit hard by the recession. So
What year was that?
that was '08, '09.
Okay.
So I graduated college December of '08, went straight into the police academy January of '09. And so around that time, most police departments weren't even sponsoring officers to go through. Like, if you wanted to go through, you had to pay your own way, do your own thing, graduate, and then you could actually apply to the departments. There was only a few that were doing, like Hillsborough County was a big one. They would have their own academy, and that was in Ybor City. I went to the academy. Each community college had a police academy.
Okay.
They like spread it around. So I went to the Pasco Hernando Community College's police
So
academy.
only a few of probably the bigger departments, Miami, some of those departments probably had their own police academy,
yes.
but everything else went through the state.
Yes, everything else went through the state. Kind of like here,
Yeah.
so same thing. So went through that, graduated, passed the state test, and then after that, I could actually start applying to police department, because they wouldn't even talk to you if you didn't pass
Oh,
the
wow.
test. Yeah, they were just like, when you pass the test, let us know, because then you're certified and we'll start the hiring process. So yeah, then you go through the whole hiring process too. So it took a while. And then I applied to 3 places, Tampa PD, which was the big one. And so since they were the big one, they were only taking people with experience at the time. And so if you didn't have any experience, they were like, nope. So we're not taking you, because they could handpick, man, because everybody wanted to work in Tampa. St. Petersburg, I applied to them. I was going through their process, and I also applied to Lakeland, the Lakeland Police Department, where my school was. And just luckily, Lakeland was the first one to say yes. And so started January of 2010 with the Lakeland Police Department.
And how big was that department?
We were at the time, I don't know how big they are now. At the time, it was 226 officers.
Okay.
So we were a decent size. It was like a
Yeah,
mid-sized city.
pretty good
It was
department.
pretty, yeah, it was a pretty big city.
So you go through, you knew going into college, you had a pretty good idea. And then when you had that class, that kind of solidified
Yeah,
what you
it
wanted to
really
do.
is.
So there wasn't really any other options
No,
after college.
no, I didn't want to
Yeah.
sit behind a desk. I'm not a desk person. Like, I don't want to
Yeah.
file paperwork all day long and all of that stuff. So
Yeah.
I knew like being a street cop was something that I wanted to do.
And how long was that academy that you went through the statement?
It was like 5 months.
Okay.
5
And that was put on by the state,
Yeah.
and they had it at different colleges,
Yep.
junior colleges and stuff.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, so that's a lot different than here.
Yeah, because they each one had its own academy, and it was all sponsored by the state. It was all the same curriculum. It was all
Yeah.
because Florida's so big and there's so many people. Like, everybody didn't go to like one central state academy.
Yeah.
Like, you could go to different state academies.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Okay. So you got hired on Lakeland.
Yep.
And did they have any training that they put you through, or do they just kind of leave it that you've been trained, you're now on?
They put you through a short little like 2-3 week little adjustment to their kind of thing. So you go out, you qualify with their guns.
Yeah.
You run through some of their policies and procedures, and then you started FTO. Right
And what were they shooting at the time? What'd you
Oh,
qualify?
actually, at the I still have it too because I got to buy it back. It was an H&K USP in 40.
Oh, really?
That was our issued.
That was your issue.
That was issued. So
Nice.
the chief at the time when I first got hired was a huge H&K guy. So they had MP5s. All
Mhm.
our SWAT team ran full auto MP5s. Then every officer was issued a USP in 40 cal.
Nice.
So it was super nice. And so then,
That's cool.
yeah, towards the end of my time there, we got a new chief. The chief retired. We got a new chief. New chief did not like H&K. Thought they were too
Of
expensive.
course.
Of course. And we transitioned to Glock 22s, still in 40. And then so they took our USPs and they're like, hey, if you want to buy your USP back, that was your gun that you carried.
Cool. Yeah.
400
We were
bucks.
able to buy them.
400 bucks.
400 bucks.
400 bucks. So that was it. So I was like, absolutely. So I bought it. Yeah, I got it at the house.
It's interesting when you have either a scenario of a new chief, or you have a new firearms
Mhm.
command that come in, how everybody has their own take on firearms, and they kind of get changed or try to change or try to open it up to more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The policy in Oklahoma City right now is kind of open, isn't it?
It is.
Very.
But we've gone through, so just in the short time that I've been there 12 and a half years, almost 12 and a half years.
Yeah.
No, it's actually over 12 and a half years now. We've gone through 3 like issued guns.
Yeah.
And then there's like a list of guns like after that you can carry if you want to carry. But we started with Glocks. That's what I run. Glock, my Gen 4 Glock 17. That's what I carry every day on duty. I've carried that for every single day. Then they switched over to SIGs, the 320.
Yep.
And so everybody was carrying SIGs for a couple of years. And then with all the stuff of recent SIG,
Yeah.
they took everyone's SIGs away. You're no longer allowed to carry those at all, period. And we switched to H&K VP9.
Yeah.
With a dot on it now. So,
Nice.
Yep.
Oh, with the red dot.
with a red dot, yeah. They're
Nice.
issued dots, yeah. Holosuns, I think.
Yeah. So do you carry a dot on your
No, I'm
Glock?
still running. No, I'm still
Nice.
running that old. I keep saying old. It's not that old. My Gen 4.
Yeah.
I'm carrying that. I want to get a dot because of the Glock with the KOA on it. You know, the new aim point thing. I want to get one. I just haven't done it.
Yeah. Well, one of the guns I feel that I shoot the best is a P365 with no optics. Just, and that's a small gun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have pretty big hands. I carried a 45 Glock 21
Nice.
on duty with a Hogue grip,
Oh man.
and so, which is, it's odd that P365 I can shoot so well with, but love the optics.
Yeah.
It's just it's different, if you've shot with sights for so long.
Yeah, and that's why I just is fine with iron sights, but the red dot is infinitely better. It really is. I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet.
Well, let's go back to, so you get hired on Lakeland. Do you remember your first call?
My very first call, I was actually a domestic. I went to there was a domestic in apartment complex, was my very, very first call. And it was boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, and wife. I can't remember what that is, but they were fighting each other. So the domestic happens up in the apartment. Boyfriend or husband ends up beating on girlfriend or wife. So then he starts to leave. She calls 911. He starts to leave. He goes downstairs. He gets in his car, or he's getting in his car. She comes running down the stairs now afterwards and starts just absolutely beating the shit out of him in the parking lot. So when we get there, there's kind of like two, incidents that happen. So there's the first one where clearly he's at fault. And there's the second one where she came down and she's at fault now, and she beat the shit out of this guy. And so actually my very first call, I ended up arresting both. Yeah. So my very first one, I was like, because I had never done any, very first out of the gate, my FTO's right there. And he's like, well, what do you have? I'm like, well.
I was going to ask, so you had FTO.
Yes.
Yeah. Was it the same?
Yeah. Oh.
As here, 4 months?
Yes. Same. Well, it was a little different. So you have first phase, second phase, third phase.
Okay.
And so when you're riding with each phase, you're riding with an FTO. But down there on your fourth phase, you actually drive by yourself. You're totally alone in your car.
Okay.
But your FTO is actually assigned you, and they just go to all the calls with you.
Okay.
But you're alone in the car.
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing everything yourself. You're making trap stops by yourself. And then sometimes the FTO will show up on the call. Sometimes they'll stay if it's like a low priority, it's like a burglary, there's nothing to do. They'll stay like a block away just in case they need to come over or help you or anything, but they'll let you run the call yourself.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you remember the first call on your own?
Oh man, I do not. I actually do not remember my very first call on my own. Yeah.
I remember my first, and it wasn't a call, but I remember the first traffic stop I made on my own.
Oh, really?
And you're on your own now, and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And I was nervous, got out, and it was a little old lady. So it was over pretty quick. And after that, it's like, okay, I can do this. But yeah, when, going from an FTO to when you're a solo unit, kind of a big deal, especially
it is
when you're, new to the job. And
yeah, you're young. I was in my 20s, early 20s.
So what is your most memorable call that you can remember, whether it's here, there?
Man, I've had a bunch, man. So I had one. This was also down in Florida. I was by myself. Was I by myself or was I with an FTO? No, I was by myself. I was out by myself. So we had another domestic. There was a lot of domestics. Had a domestic. Go to a trailer park. There's a lot of trailer parks in Lakeland. There's some like really nice sections of Lakeland, and then there's some like really not nice sections of Lakeland. And so another trailer park, go in there, start talking to the girl. She's inside. She said, yeah, my boyfriend was here, beat me up. She's like bleeding from the nose. Her shirt's kind of torn. And then he took my took my minivan. And so we're like, okay, well, crap. So I'm getting all the information. We say, well, okay, we're going to go drive around. We'll see if we find the van. So me and then one of our canine officers was backing me on that. We're leaving the trailer park. Well, all of a sudden we see the van at the front of the trailer park had like hit a tree or clipped the bush or something like that. And it's like disabled, like sitting right there. We're like, oh, there's the van. So we look around, we don't see him, we don't find him. So we go back over to the trailer to tell her that, hey, your van's at the front up there. I don't know where the guy is. He kind of messed it up, but the van's up there. So as we get up there, we can hear like something going on in the trailer. And so I'm like, oh shit, I think he's back. And so we bang on the door, we open the door, he's inside, kind of have a little bit of a tussle with him. We get him in custody. He's yelling and screaming at us as we're bringing him out to the car, trying to pull away. She's yelling at us, saying, don't hurt him, don't hurt him. And like, she's still bleeding and her shirt's messed up. And I'm like, you called us. This guy just beat you up and now you're upset about it. So we're trying to get him in the car. And then he goes, looks at us and he goes, man, I'm gonna fucking shit on you. I'm gonna shit on you. And I'm like, what? And he's wearing basketball shorts, no underwear. He's got his hands behind his back. He pulls his pants down and he starts literally projectile shitting out of his ass. And he's turning towards us. And me and the canine officer are like doing this dance because we're trying to hold on to him. And he's shitting all over the place. And we're like, oh my God, oh my God. And the canine guy, he was a big dude. He just goes, boo, boo, let go of him. I let go and he grabs him, picks him up, boop, puts him down on the ground. Guy knocked out completely cold. And so then we end up getting him and putting him in the car. And then we took him to jail. But
that sounds like a mess.
Yes, it was literally a mess. So yes, guys actually trying to shit on me while I'm trying to take him into custody. So that was different.
Wow.
Yeah,
I've never had that one happen before.
No, yeah.
But that's typical with the domestics. The girls call, women call in, or it could be the men, but it's more so the women call, and then the next thing you know, they're on your back, trying to assault you, or you're taking him into custody.
No, don't hurt him. Don't hurt him. Well, he just hurt you. So yeah.
That's interesting. That's wild. That'll be one that I don't know if I'll ever hear that one again. But if I ever do hear anybody say I'm going to shit on you,
That was, I did not
I-
believe him at first. I was like, what? And then no, sure shit. Literally, he pulls his pants down and just starts going. So
oh my gosh. Okay, so how long were you there in Lakeland?
I was there just shy of 3 years. Almost
3 years.
3 years total. Yeah.
um, you had another very memorable uh, call there that happened.
Yeah.
You lost a partner,
I did. Yeah.
and you mind talking about that?
No,
a
yeah,
little bit?
sure. It was December of 2011. His name was Arnulfo Crispin. He was my partner. We rode the south side of Lakeland. So the city was broken up into 2 sections. So it was big enough that we could have 2 different radio channels. So you had the north side of the city and the south side of the city. And me and Crispin rode in what is really the hood of the south side of the city. So we were over in that area. We had been partners for a year at least. We were good friends. We would hang out, off duty and all that stuff. And so December 18th, I had gone back to the station. The night had started like a normal night. I had gone back to the station to fix a report that I had had from the previous night where we had made an arrest together with a guy with a gun. And so I'm at the station talking to the sergeant, who the sergeants there were our supervisors. And so I'm talking to the sergeant. I see Crispin at the station. And he's like, hey, man, I'm going to go run over to, we've been having a lot of problems in a park on the south side with gang members, and they were selling drugs out of this park. And it's like a weird little park where it's one way in and one way out. And then this road kind of circles it. And then around the whole park is a bunch of apartment complexes, just crappy apartment complexes. He goes, hey, I'm going to go see if anybody's over at the park and go jump out on them. I'm like, all right, man, I'll be there in a few minutes. I just got to finish this report. So I'm sitting there, I'm typing, I'm in the parking lot. One of our other friends, another officer, pulls up next to me, and we're sitting car to car. His name's Jordan Hernandez. And we're sitting there, and then I hear on the radio that Crispin's, he's going out on the park. He's going out on a group of guys in the park, and there's like 5 of them. He says, hey, I'll be out on 5. I'm in the park. So I pick up the mic, and I start to say, 198, we did our badge numbers. That was my badge number. 198, I'll be en route. Well, there was a female officer, and you have to say where you're at. So I said, I'm coming from the station. And so there's a female officer, and she keys up, and she says, hey, I'm a lot closer. I'll be en route. So I'm like, okay, cool. Hang on my mic. I go back to typing. I hear her. She goes 97, which means she arrived on scene. It's quiet for a few seconds, and then all of a sudden she's screaming on the radio, officer down, officer down. And so Jordan, who was sitting next to me, he was working the north side of the city, so he's on a different radio channel, so he doesn't hear it. So I look at him, and I'm like, officer down, Crispin's down, dude, Crispin's down, dude. Let's go. And so I throw it in reverse, go hauling out of the parking lot, go flying down there. Jordan's right behind me. Come pulling into the park, get out, go running over to her. She's taking Crispin's down, like right by the playground area. And she doesn't know what happened. I mean, because by the time she got there, everybody's already gone. She just finds Crispin laying there. She doesn't know what happened. So she's taking a position of cover behind a tree because she doesn't know if somebody shot him from one of the apartment complexes. She has no idea what happened. So she's taking a position of cover behind the tree. I come running up. We find Crispin. She comes back over now. And you could tell that he's got a gunshot wound to the top of his head. And his eyes are shut, but they're bulging from the overpressure. And so I go, oh, geez, he's bleeding everywhere. And I'm like, all right, well, let's start CPR. I check. He has no pulse. I'm like, let's start CPR. So we start pulling his uniform off. I take his gun belt off. I sprint back to my car, throw it in my car so his gun's secure. We get his vest off, and then we started doing CPR on him. We were trading on and off doing CPR. Because if you've ever done CPR, like for legit on someone, it's exhausting, and it's hardcore, especially when you're trying to do it to your friend. So when we're trading on and off, doing CPR, I'm trying to plug the hole that's now on the top of his head, because every time we're pumping, it's just pumping out. And so I put my hands over top of it. It's still just coming out from my hands. Fire and EMSA get there, or EMS, and they get him and they hook him up and everything, and find out he's got a faint pulse now. Okay, good. They load him up. They take off. Once we had put out that an officer was down, we set up an amazing perimeter around that whole area. And we had units from Polk County Sheriff's Department, Winter Haven officers were there. Everyone who was working in Lakeland, every single officer from the entire city was there that was working that night. So we had this really good perimeter set up. So after they take him, Hempstead Fire take him, I'm like exhausted and I can't believe what happened. So I go sit, because we're in a park. I go sit in a swing set and I'm like sitting there and I'm like literally looking at my hands and they're like covered in blood. And I have some of his brain matter on my fucking pants. And I'm like sitting there and I can't believe what just happened. And we had an old guy who, great dude. He had been on the department for a long time. His name was Stephen Richburg. And he had been a canine officer and a detective. And he actually came back out and was back in patrol now on nights. We worked third shift. And he comes over and he grabs me by the shoulder and he goes, "Come here, we're going to wash your hands off." So he takes me over to the fire truck and tells one of the fire guys, "Hey, wash his hands off now." And so the fire guy starts, they wash my hands off. And one of the canine officers comes up and goes, "Hey, we're going on the track. Do you want to come with us?" I'm like, "Absolutely." And so I run back to my car, grab my shotgun. We go on the first track. And so it's December in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Gets cold for Floridians. It's not like Oklahoma cold, but it's cold enough. And so we find 4 guys inside the perimeter who are sweating and they're just like kind of roaming around. And it's like, okay, something's wrong here because it's cold. They shouldn't be sweating. There's no reason for them to be out like this. So we stop them. Well, we end up looking at their hands and they actually have little puncture holes in their hands. And so that whole park is surrounded by a chain link fence when it's got those sharp little things on top. So we're like, okay, now we know these guys jumped a fence. So we start asking them, we know, hey, and then immediately, they're like, "Oh, yeah, we were there. It wasn't us. It was this guy. He did it." And his uncle or whatever stays in an apartment and it's literally right on the other side of the fence from the park. So our attack team ends up surrounding the house. They end up calling him out. He comes out peacefully. We ended up finding the gun. He had hid it in like a crawl space under the apartment. And then there was a bag of weed in the trash can right next to Crispin. So he shot. What had happened was Crispin goes out on the guys. He comes walking up. There's 5 of them. He tells them all, stay put. He's going to check them for weapons and all that stuff. Starts patting them down, just making sure nobody has anything. Gets to guy number 4. Guy number 5 had a gun behind his back, pulls it out, puts it right to Crispin's head, fires a shot straight into his head. So Crispin survived for another 3 days, and then he passed away on December 21st of 2011.
Man, I'm sorry to hear about that.
No, thank you. No. So
I've never lost a partner, but that is just a snare that no officer wants to be put in.
No,
And,
no. And, you're young. Like, both of us were in our early 20s. He was like almost the exact same age as me.
Yeah.
And I think he was 24.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe I was 25. And you don't think about that when you're young. Like, I would have done the exact same thing. Like, now that you're older, I'm older and I've been around a while, you think about going out on 5 people by yourself, how you would have handled it differently or what you would have done. But back then I would have done the exact same thing.
Well, I remember in my 20s, or in the gang unit, like looking at officers who were my age now, thinking I'm never going to make it past 50. I mean, it's just something, when you're young, you're just like, you're running constantly. And, yeah, that's horrible scenario to be part of.
Yeah.
So you get the guy in custody.
Mhm.
What happened then with you and the department and work? Were you off for some time?
Yeah, I think they put us off for a couple of days. Our shift, they actually got guys to come in and cover. Polk County, the sheriff's department.
Oh, wow.
Was super nice.
They came in
and covered some, especially the day when we had the funeral. So once everything kind of had settled down and they'd kind of narrowed him down into that apartment right there, they started pulling us off who were out there, and they kind of moved us. They had like set up like a command center that was just south of it. There was like a big parking lot right there, and so they had the command center right there, fire, and everybody's right there because we're all looking for this. We've been looking for him for a while, and so we go back there, and then they had us there with like kind of like a wellness unit. kind of. We had like chaplains.
Yeah.
And so we were there. And then later on, actually, they sent our entire shift to like a retreat, and it was in Georgia. It was up in like northern Georgia for like a weekend, which was actually pretty nice.
Huh.
So we were with officers who had been in like shootings and who had been
Uh-huh.
in all kinds of other things, and then it was like us who had that with Crispin. So
Yeah. So it's peer support based
yeah,
type
yeah,
program to.
exactly.
Well, it's awesome that they did that. And it's good to see law enforcement learning over time. You know, we've heard stories. We're actually going to have an interview of an officer from California that, you know, back in the he was in the 80s, 70s or 80s. You know, officer his partner killed, and he's back 10-8. You know, 3 hours later.
Oh Jesus.
And so it's good to see the lessons learned and the, you know, departments
Yeah.
taking care of their officers in that way.
Mhm.
So, so how many do you remember before Crispin when the last officer was killed at Lakeland?
Man, it had been a long time. Like a generation of officers before that. I mean, it was a long time. Yeah. Lakeland hadn't had something like that in a very long time. I don't remember the exact date, but I know it was a long time ago.
I was gonna say, you know, even a police department, Oklahoma City size, even 1,000
Mhm.
man department, um, you know, it's not that often.
No.
So it's something that,
Mhm.
you know, when I went through the academy, right when I was going through the academy, right before, maybe a year or two before that, we had an officer killed.
Mm.
Tooman was
Oh,
killed in
yeah.
Oklahoma City, and it had been years. And then after that, it was years.
Yeah, my entire time, we have not by gunfire, we have not had an officer killed.
Yeah.
So,
Which
knock on wood.
speaks amazing to the training.
Yes.
You've been involved in 5.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's some other officers who have been involved in multiple. I don't think
Mhm.
there's any been involved in 5, but I think there's been,
I think I'm up there. Yeah.
yeah, I think there's been some 3, 4.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, no, I can name a bunch of 3 and 4,
Yeah,
but 5 is
that's a lot.
yeah.
So, how long? So that was in
December of 2011.
2011,
Mhm.
and then you came to Oklahoma City
Mhm.
in what?
Late 2012. I started the academy
2012.
January of
Okay.
2013.
So did that have an impact of you coming to Oklahoma City, or what brought you to Oklahoma City?
Yes. So my very first shooting was also in Florida. Crispin was killed in December. In March, that was December of 2011. March of 2012, I was in my first shooting down in Florida, and there was another trailer park. Everything happens in trailer parks down there, but and it's a crappy trailer park. This one's super crappy because it's surrounded by Publix. You know, Publix, the
Yeah.
grocery store,
Yeah.
fantastic. Pub subs are the best. But so Publix is actually headquartered in Lakeland. That's their headquarters.
Okay.
And so their big plant where they, stock everything and all the trucks go out of is in Lakeland. Is huge. And so there's this little, it's a big industrial area. And then like there's this little cutout, and then there's this trailer park right there. And this trailer park is like full of like sex offenders and just all kinds of other stuff because it's the only trailer park that's nowhere near a school. It's
Mm.
nowhere near a park. It's nowhere near nothing. It's just literally in this industrial area. And so we get a call, first call out of the gate to go. It's a civil standby. Lady's calling in. She wants to get some of her stuff. We do it all the time. She's just scared that something's going to happen with her fiance. And so she wants the police to be there just so she can grab her stuff. And so, but there's a call note, there's a premise on the call that says that this guy, he's hostile towards police and he's normally armed with a 45. And so the dispatcher sees that, and she had already sent, my new partner now was Jordan Hernandez, the guy who's sitting next to me. So he's my partner now. I'm still riding the hood on the south side. And he gets the call. The dispatcher sees that call note. So she goes, hey, 198, can you back him? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So we go over there. We're sitting there. She's not there yet. We're waiting just outside. There's one way in, one way out of this trailer park. She meets us. She pulls up. She's in like a SUV with her friend. She pulls up. She jumps out. She says, we give her the same spiel all the time to everybody. You have like 5 minutes. We'll stand by while you grab that. We're not here for you to move out furniture and stuff. We're here to grab your essentials, grab some clothes. You got 5 minutes, and then we're leaving. She said, okay, okay. And so I asked her, I'm like, hey, we have something here that says this guy is normally armed with a gun. Does he have a gun? And she goes, I don't know if he has a gun or not. I don't know. I was like, okay, all right. Well, you go knock on the door. We'll be right here. And then, we'll go from there. She's like, okay. So we pull in, typical trailer. There's like, the three little metal steps that go up. There's the door. There's this huge ass tree in the front yard. I mean, it is like big. And so we pull up. She pulls in the driveway with her friend. Her friend's still in the driver's seat. She gets out. We pull up. I'm standing right by the tree, and it's looking right at the front door. And so then my partner, Jordan, he goes around to the side a little bit. And so now he's like got like a side angle of the front door. So we're like in a little L. And she bangs on the door, and you hear the guy inside, what? She says her name, whatever her name was. And she goes, I'm here and I brought the police. So I'm like, God damn it, lady. And so now he knows we're out there. So you can hear him in the trailer. It's like, do, 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 as he's walking around. And then all of a sudden, the door comes swinging open, and he's standing there. And I can see he's got a gun in his hand, and he racks the slide. And it's in his right. And he puts it down like this. So he's holding it down to his side. And he yells, I don't want the fucking police here, or something like that. And so I draw out, and I'm like, oh shit, gun, gun, gun. I'm yelling. Jordan, he's yelling at the guy. We're yelling at him, put the gun down, put the gun down. So he looks at me, and then he puts the gun down right on that front step, like right on the threshold right there of the door, puts it down. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, good. So I'm like, all right, keep your hands up, He puts his hands up, and he starts coming down the stairs. So then I'm like, all right, turn around, put your hands behind your back. And he like looks at me, he puts his hands down, and he says something like, fuck you, or something like that. And he turns and he starts to go back up the stairs, and I start yelling. I'm like, no, 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 stop, stop, stop. And he gets up goes up one stair, goes up the next stair, and then he leans over, stretches his arm out to pick the gun up. And so then I fired. I fired 6 rounds. Jordan fired 3 rounds. All 6 of mine hit him in the back. Jordan, because he had a side angle, he got one, went in his arm, went through his arm, into his chest. Mine, all in the back. One severed his spine, and then one hit him in the heart from the back. And I watched him. I remember, like, I didn't hear the gunfire go off. I didn't see everything. The guy was wearing a white wife beater. And I remember that first round I fired. I remember hitting his beater, and then just the red just go and start to come out like that. And I was like, oh shit, I just shot a guy. And he just kind of tumbles off, boop, falls down on the ground. He takes his last breath, and he's done. Yeah. Right off to the side is a girlfriend or fiance, who is now screaming bloody murder. And so I yelled to Jordan, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to holster. I'm going to grab her, because we don't know if there's anybody else inside the trailer. So he's like, all right, I got you. So he's covered. I holster. I run over. I grab her. I take her behind my patrol car. As soon as I put her behind my patrol car, she starts screaming at me. If he dies, I'm going to sue you. Yes. I'm like, what are we? Once again, I'm like, this just happened. And okay. And so she's back there just yelling and screaming me at that. I'm back by the tree now. We cover down on him. Everybody else shows up. We clear the trailer. He was the only one inside. They found a bunch of mess and stuff inside. But so that was my first shooting. And I ended up actually getting sued on that one. So
and you had case
law.
Yes, on that. So before we get to that, I wanted to ask you about the physiological effects. We talk about a lot with CCW Safe with our members, kind of telling them what, if they are involved in a shooting, most likely what's going to happen, the aftermath, so forth. And the physiological effects typically are time, memory distortion or slowing of time, auditory exclusion, tunnel vision. Did you have any or all of those?
Yes. Yeah. On that one, I had literally all of them.
All of
So
them.
I fired 6 rounds. I had no idea how many shots I fired. Never heard the gun go off. If I did, it was kind of like a little pop. And then that first round, really just on the first round, but that first round, I remember seeing it like hit him in the back, and then just that red just started like just expanding on his back. So I was,
And he probably didn't use your sights, I'm assuming? No sight.
I don't even, no, didn't even, that was 100% point shooting. Because we were only like, man, even if we were, I don't know, because you're just so like, I was so focused on him, and I'm like, holy crap, he's actually going to pick this gun up. I can't fucking believe this is happening. And so I'm just hard focused on him, and it was just more of like just a reaction, a point shoot.
Yeah. Do you remember like using your shots as reference of seeing the entry, or did you see the entries, or did
Just that
time slow down that?
I think
Okay.
that first one. So that first one, I knew I was on at least. So I'm like, okay, I mean, I'm hitting him, and so then I just until he fell, and then I was done.
Yeah.
So,
And it's amazing how fast you can get 6 rounds out.
oh my gosh, yes, oh yeah,
I think mine, I got 7 rounds out in probably under a second,
oh yeah. It takes nothing to
just
do
under,
that.
you know, over a second. So, okay, so you did have the,
Yes, on that one, absolutely yes.
of all the effects. And then, so do you remember how long it took you to that day or the next day to where it really kind of sank in?
Um, it was probably the next day or two. So they did things totally different down there too. So after the shooting, everybody shows up, you know, homicide, everybody, detectives, and all that stuff. Uh, one of the DAs, one of the assistant DAs, actually comes out to the scene of any officer involved shooting. So they were there. They kind of get like a little rundown. Um, they took me and Jordan straight to headquarters, and they do your interview like that night. So like here, you wait like 48 hours, 3 days sometimes to do your interview. That it was literally, it was like 2 hours later, and I was
Mhm.
doing the interview. Um, and so we did the interview. We were off for 1 week. Uh, we had to go to like a shrink down in
Mhm.
Tampa. Drove down there. You talk to him for like 20 minutes, and he's just like, "All right, you're good. Go back to work." And so we were 1 week off.
So, did they give you a chance? You were interviewed a few hours later.
Mhm.
Did they give you a chance later, days later, to come back in and look it over? Is that what happened?
No,
Okay.
no, yeah, it was just you do that interview because that was also a time too that there's no body cameras.
Yeah.
There's no surveillance cameras in
Mhm.
that trailer park. And it's also, you know, it's 2012, so it was just like
Yeah.
totally different. It's totally different time frame.
Yeah.
And so there was not. I mean, it's just you just tell them what happened.
On my shooting is 96.
Mhm,
We were allowed to, and we gave a statement right after the
mhm,
homicide, a couple hours later, same thing. But we were allowed a couple days later to come in, relook it over, and kind of, does this look all right?
mhm,
And that's the reason is why they do today too, of the 24-hour sleep cycle or the
mhm.
time,
Yeah.
is because you really don't remember. And I remember, so I remember giving my statement, probably around 2 p.m. or so. And I remember like at 6 p.m. sitting on my couch, like, what the fuck just happened? Like
Yeah.
trying to like remember things because, with the memory distortion, it does take a little bit. So you thought it was probably about a day before it really kind of
Yes, yeah,
sank
before
in.
you realize, I mean, you know, I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god, I just shot and killed a guy." So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I remember my feeling was for, a few days was just real kind of numbing.
Mhm.
I lost people close to me, kinda that same feeling or just kinda real numbing, was that what I kinda felt, but, um, so I was sued in mine too. I wanna hear about your
Oh,
lawsuit.
yeah. So, the mother of the gentleman, um, actually filed a lawsuit, so it's under her name. It's like, Kenning versus Carli, so it's got my last name in it, and,
And what year was this? Was it
so she filed the lawsuit because you have, like, a time frame to file the lawsuit,
I
2
think
years.
it's 2 years.
Yeah, so she files it, like, no joke, there might have been, like, a month left of this 2
Yeah.
years, and so boom, they filed the lawsuit. I'm already actually living in Oklahoma now, and so I did my depot out here, they set it up and all that stuff, and so goes for the first court rules in our favor. They appeal it, goes to the second, rules in our favor. They appeal it, goes all the way to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeal. So, like, right below the Supreme Court.
Mhm.
Florida's in the 11th Circuit. And the judge there ruled in our favor that they're, what they were suing over was a violation of the Fourth Amendment. They were saying
Mm.
that I shot him in the back and he was unarmed. Yes, to both of those things, technically. I did shoot him in the back and technically he was. But the judge ruled that based on what we were saying, we gave that guy multiple opportunities to stop and comply with our commands. He put the gun down and then he refused. And a reasonable officer would believe that by his actions and the way he was going and
Mm.
reaching towards that gun, that he was going to use that gun on us or on his fiance or the other lady, her friend, who just drove her there, so that we didn't have to wait for him to rearm himself before we fired, because we gave him ample time to comply with our commands. So they ruled in our favor. So now it is officially case law in the United States.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. My name's on it. I know. I have to explain that to people too, because like sometimes case law is like bad. You know, you think of like bad stuff, and they're like, "Oh, yeah," and I'm like, "No,
You're on the right side.
yeah,
So-
good case law. It's not bad."
So how long did it take before she sued you until it reached the 11th?
Holy crap! It was, so that shooting was in 2012. So she sues maybe 2014. I'm trying to remember, and then that thing wasn't even over till like 17, 16, 17
Wow.
or something
So
like
it
that.
went through several years.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. So when she filed and you were now working in Oklahoma City, who defended you?
So the city still provided,
For Lakeland.
yes, for Lakeland, the city provided us with an attorney and everything. And so I did my depo, like literally like a teleconference. Like we were sitting and they had the thing and they asked their questions. I never had to go anywhere else. They just did the depo and then that was it.
No, was Jordan still on Lakeland?
Yes,
Is he still on today?
I don't think he's on anymore. No,
Okay.
I think he's moved
But
on.
at that time,
But that's not, yes, he was still on. So he went and did everything in person and he had his attorney there with him and all that stuff. Same thing. The city provided everything.
yeah. Wow. I got one question.
Yes, sir.
Going back. So did Crispin, was there exit wound?
Yeah.
Or
So unbeknownst to me at the time, so when I was trying to plug the hole that was on the top of the head, because that was the only one that I could see at the time, it entered in the top of his head right here, and there was actually an exit wound in the back here. And just by the way he was laying, by the way, there was so much, I didn't even know about the exit wound.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there trying to plug the top. And so, but yeah, it exited out the back.
oh man, that's tough. All right, let's go to Oklahoma City. So did that along with the shooting? Why did you come to Oklahoma City?
Funny story actually. So it was a girl at the time. We met down in college in Florida. I was older, so graduated, started working for Lakeland. She was still in school. She's from Edmond. After she graduated, she's like, "Hey, you know what? I miss home. You know, I miss my parents and all." So I was like, "Oh, okay." I'd been to Oklahoma a couple times. I was like, "Yeah, Oklahoma's pretty nice. Sure." And so ended up moving out here. I'd actually reapplied to Tampa and Oklahoma City at the same time, because I was like, because I still always wanted to work. There was something about working for like a large agency that I wanted to do. Lakeland was fantastic. I love the guys that were there. It was an awesome department to work for, but I don't know. There's something about working for a big city. Like that's just,
Well, I think a bigger city has more options
yeah,
for work
100%.
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it be gangs, we're talking about commit, interdiction, a lot of the smaller departments don't have those options.
Yeah, we did not have that. It was like you were either on, we had a street crimes unit. So in Lakeland, it was called street crimes. And they rode around in all blacked out Crown Vics. Oh man, it was great. But to be on street crimes down there, you had to be on the TAC team.
Okay.
So like you couldn't just be on it as a normal officer. It was just TAC team officers were on street crimes. That's how it worked.
Did they have a full-time TAC team? Or
No, but it was like that's how they kind of did the full-time TAC team kind of a thing. It was like they had guys in other places, like they had guys in investigation who were on it, and they had some other places, guys who were in our training unit that were on it. But like that's how they got it. It was like that street crimes unit. Yes. So like every single guy on that was on the team. So like if something happened, half the time they were already on duty, so they would just drive over there. So
okay, so a girl brought you here.
oh yeah. So yeah, she brought me here. So she's hey, I miss my parents. I want to move to Oklahoma. Okay, sure, cool. I had applied to Tampa again. I applied to Oklahoma City. And Oklahoma City calls me the day before I'm about to go do my stuff for Tampa. Like Tampa called like the next day and was like, "Hey, we set you up with this, this, and this." And I was like, Oklahoma City called me yesterday and said, "You're hired." So I'm already moving. So sorry, guys. And so moved out here and started the academy in January of 2013.
And that's a pretty quick process.
Yeah,
Corey.
yeah, it actually moved. Yeah, pretty quick. Yeah,
yeah. So, and Tampa would be cool to work for.
I know Tampa's beautiful, absolutely beautiful city. I love Tampa to death.
Yeah.
but we go and visit all the time, you know. So
You get hired here. Did you get how did they have a time transfer, or like I know now they're doing signing bonuses different places?
oh yeah, no, not when I went through. No, no bonus, no nothing, and it was you had to go through the full blown academy again. So right back into it, right back through a 6-month academy. Um, the good thing is you get paid though. Actually, with this one, so my first one I didn't get paid. This time I actually got paid, so that was nice. But
Time transfer, probably not.
nope,
Nope.
nope, my time is just gone in the wind. Yep. So I got to take my retirement that I had for just a little bit.
Yeah.
And then my current wife and I, we used it to buy we used it towards one of our houses that we bought.
Nice.
Yeah. So it worked out. That part worked out.
So how was the academy? How did the Oklahoma City? I was going to ask this earlier, but wanted to kind of wait to get to this point. How did the Oklahoma City Academy compare with what you went through in Florida?
Oklahoma City's is way more extensive.
Yeah.
Like way more extensive. I think as they can tailor it more because it's department specific.
Yeah.
Like if you're in Oklahoma City's academy, you're going to Oklahoma City. So like down there, it was like more of like a broad kind of a thing because they didn't know where you were going to go and all that stuff. So it's just kind of like your basic law enforcement stuff. I mean, they still taught you everything, but like Oklahoma City it was insane the amount of training we got in Oklahoma City. Like full blown 6 months every single day, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. we started, and I mean, 3 o'clock was your time to go home, but you never went home.
Never
3 o'clock. No. So
So was the going through the academy in Florida? Do you feel like it was maybe easier
oh yes.
the second time going through?
Well, yeah, it helped me out tremendously. And so like having the experience of having multiple years. So the instructors there, I mean, I won't say it, but I mean, they kind of treated you a little different. There was a couple of us in there who had experience, so they do kind of treat you a little differently, like in a good way.
Yeah.
Like they're kind of like, you know, well, he already knows kind of, you know, what he's doing. So they kind of focus more on the people who are like, don't have any idea what they're doing and are just sometimes clusterfucks. So it was good. I had a good experience in my academy.
And I was a custody and control instructor. And I know going through when we had guys from the Marine Corps, we had guys from other departments, it's just a less of a focus. Like you said, there's a lot that we have to focus on that people are really going to need to get a handle on it. And then you have the guys who have a pretty good handle on it. So
yeah.
Make it easier. Still, I'm sure it's pretty tough academy.
Yeah. CDT, speaking of CDT kicked my ass, man. CDT, 2 full weeks of just fighting and learning how to, oh man, even that was the most brutal 2 weeks of the whole academy. Best 2 weeks, driving. LEDT.
LEDT.
So much fun. I'm an LEDT instructor now, but that was absolutely the most fun I had because that's 2 full weeks of just driving.
Yeah.
And it's just so much fun. And then you literally roll right into, you're like, yeah, man, this is super awesome. And then 2 weeks of just getting your ass beat all day, every day. It's just like, oh.
Yeah, LEDT is a fun one. What about shooting at the range? Did y'all lose any? So how many did you start with in your academy?
We started with 55 and we graduated with 45.
And I assume they probably dropped in either the first or the shooting or the...
Shooting and CDT.
Yeah.
That was where we lost everybody, shooting and CDT. And then, a couple of quit during CDT because once you like start doing stuff, like a couple of them realized they're like, oh man, like I'm going to have to actually like fight someone possibly. Like they just decided it wasn't for them. And then shooting too, some of them just couldn't qualify with some of the courses. And then, so they recycled a couple of them and they went through other academies and then they ended up passing. So
I'd love to talk to you about LEDT. My first 2 daughters were able to go out to Burns Flat.
Oh yeah.
And go through a driving course with Brett Key, who's going to be on the show in the future.
Oh, nice.
And, but my youngest did not. And I would love to get my youngest just to go through a course like that.
Oh yeah.
And my oldest still talk about shuffle steering. They still talk about.
Oh yeah. So we teach the same stuff. Yeah.
So cool.
That is some of the most fun you'll have, especially because I love being like, so when you go do that out at Burns Flat, because they're just, I mean, it's just wide open and there's just tracks and everything that we can drive on. So when the recruits are driving, they beat a bad guy.
Mhm.
And so like the instructors get to play the bad guy and you're just out there just driving, having fun. You're like going through the cones and doing everything. And then you got to do a high speed run. So you're doing, a buck 15 down this runway because you have to go over 100 miles an hour. That's part of Cleat's curriculum is you
Mhm.
have to go over 100 miles an hour. Because a lot of people in their daily lives have never driven
Right.
over 100 miles an hour. So
Yeah.
you got to go over that. And it's so much fun, especially at nighttime too. You get the lights going and everything, sirens going. Yeah, it's just great.
100 to 120 is a big difference.
Yes.
Over 100.
Yes. Yes.
In
It
a
is.
pursuit.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about where did you start when you get out of the academy here? I'm assuming you not breeze through, but I'm assuming that FTO was easy for you. You
Yeah,
got
it
through
was-
that.
Mhm.
Where did you start working?
I was assigned to Spring Lake Division. So I work on the east
Nice.
side. Yes. My favorite division. I'm back there now, actually.
That's my old stomping grounds.
Yes. Spring Lake's the best. It's my favorite. So yeah, I got assigned to Spring Lake 2-shift B set. So we work
Nice.
4 p.m. to 2 a.m. is 2-shift. I love that shift.
And still on eight on 6,
8 on, 6 off.
which is an amazing schedule.
Yes, it's fantastic. Like when you hear about it, you're like, 8 days in a row. That's a lot. I mean, it is. You get tired by day 7, but like,
Beautification every other week.
yeah, you work 2 weeks a month basically.
Yeah.
And then you're off.
It's awesome.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's
One of the best schedules I've ever had.
Yes.
So you, where do you work? What's your division? I mean, what's your area?
Sector right now. So when I first came out, I was in Sector 1.
Okay.
And so Sector 1 it was different when I first came out. It's moved a couple of times.
So
because
hospitals?
they redistrict. Yeah, I had OU,
Yeah.
Children's and all that stuff. So then it moved again. So they redistrict. It went actually all the way down to Southeast 44th Street.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like Spring Lake was real weird setup because
Yeah.
Will Rogers was still there
Mhm.
when I came out, and then they got rid of Will Rogers, turned it into Southwest Division. So then we moved over and we took all of downtown.
Mhm.
So then you had St. Anthony's, you had all of that, and so it moved. So Sector 1 actually moved. It was 235
Mhm.
to the river, and then all the way over to Penn, and then Penn to like 50th
Hmm.
was our cutoff, and that was
Okay.
yeah. So we had like 10 Penn, we had
Nice. 10 pin was
10 Penn's wild. It's still wild.
Yeah.
12 years later, it's still wild. So
yeah, gangs that was pretty much every night 10 pin.
yeah.
I mean, we had Southwest 29th, 44th. We had Islands a little bit, but
Yeah, and then the true east side over there, your King and the Hood over there in 28th, 29th, and 27th Street
yeah.
off of King, and yeah.
Started out when I started Spring Lake, it was super hot on the east side. And then everything kind of started, moving west along 10th Street.
Yeah.
10 Penn, out to 10th and Rockwell. So all right, so you got on Spring Lake. How long were you there?
I was in Spring Lake for the end of 13, 14, 15, 16. 17, I went to Impact in Spring Lake.
Okay.
That's like our plainclothes narcotics, street level narcotics unit. Grew a big beard. It was super awesome. And then stayed there, and then left Impact in 2018, and I went to Gangs.
Nice.
Gang.
Oh, so you've been I've got a flask for you.
Oh yes, yeah. I saw it out at the Scully. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So that was the gang unit flask.
Yes.
Not too many of the guests are going to get that. You got to be in the gang unit to get that.
That's how it goes.
I've got
That's how
that
it
for you,
yeah.
along with the
Yeah, I still got I got a coin in my pocket too. Yeah,
Nice.
Get Scully.
Nice.
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't bring. I guess I'll do
Oh,
I'm gonna have to do push-ups now.
Uh,
That's awesome. So what was your favorite unit to work? Was it out of patrol, impact, and gangs? Because that's
man, patrol will always be like my sweet spot, like that I
Mhm.
love. But of other units other than patrol, Impact was a shit ton of fun. Like just getting to do all that stuff, just totally different from what I was used to. But definitely number one, Gangs. The gang unit was the absolute most fun I've ever had.
I think that would have been mine too. Gangs and impact it'd be hard to choose, but gangs I think narrows it out
Yeah,
just
yeah.
barely ahead.
When I was up there, I was with basically everybody in our unit on B set was like friends of mine. So it was like I was with like all of my friends riding around because you ride two to a car and you just go around and you're suppressing gang activity throughout the cities.
All self-initiated. You don't have to go to any calls. You can go to calls if you want.
Phone calls, yeah. If it's a hot call, you can go to it. If it's, a drive-by, we would respond to it. But other than that, you're making traffic stops, jump outs, chasing down warrants. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun.
So let's go through just kind of overview the four shootings here in Oklahoma City.
Yes.
First shooting, what year and where were you?
That was I was in patrol, Spring Lake. It was on the east side. It was like 24th or 5th in Lottie.
What year was that?
2015. I was
Okay.
That was July of 2015, summer of
Okay.
2015. Number 2 here was the bus. That's the one I'm
Yeah,
kind
we'll
of
talk about.
yeah, that's that. That was 11 months later. That was June of 2016.
Still at Spring Lake.
Still at Spring Lake. Yep. Then go to Impact, do all that, nothing. All the warrants you do,
Wow.
kicking in doors, doing all that stuff, nothing. Gang unit, whole time in the gang unit, nothing. And that's all purely jump outs, like we were saying, and all that stuff, nothing. Go back to patrol in 2020. Went to Santa Fe Division. Rode the South Side for 2 years. Also a good division. But got him. That's where number 3 was here, 4 overall. That was on the south side. I forget where that was, but that was in Santa Fe.
Santa Fe.
On a call. Every single one of mine has been on
Calls. Yeah.
No self-initiated, no traffic. I can't believe it. But just
Then the last one.
Back. So I moved back up to Spring Lake, and that was in Spring Lake Division again, and that was in 2022.
Wow.
Yeah, that was
So they were all in. Yeah, that's well, and it kind of goes to show you that the street is, patrol is where it's at. I mean, that's where,
yeah.
and a lot of people look at, patrol as, that, they want to go into these specialized units but
Mhm.
patrol is, I mean, and that's when I left the department, I was like, man, if I could have, cause I hadn't been in patrol. I went from patrol to impact to gangs.
Mhm.
And so it had been, 4 or 5 years, and I was like, "Man, if I could have one more night in a scout car.
It
If
is.
I could have one more wish, I would probably take one more night in a scout car over my left eye."
Yeah.
We'd probably be like, "One more night in a scout car." It's
It is.
so
It's the best. I love patrol, and I will always love patrol. Like, I have no desire to be a detective or anything like that. People need to do it, absolutely.
Yeah.
Or like traffic unit, or everybody, they have their things. But like being a street cop in a car, there's nothing like it. There's the show like Southland,
Mhm.
with their LA, and the main character, he says that one thing. He's like, here, and I mean, it's 100% true. He says you have the front row seat to the greatest show on earth, because every night is something just completely crazy. You could be doing nothing, and then 10 minutes later, you're seeing some of the craziest stuff,
Yeah.
you've ever seen. It's just like
Yeah.
wild. So I love that. Like the other day, we had we're going to injury accident down at Reno and Classen right
Mhm.
there. And homeless guy, there's tons of homeless people. Homeless guy cuts across the street, doesn't use his crosswalk, of course. He's on a bicycle, gets hit by a car. We get down there, we show up, there's no bicycle. And they're like, he was riding a bicycle. And we're like, where's the bicycle? And we get video of it. There's so many homeless people down there that 2 homeless guys, this guy just gets hit by a car. Not kidding you. He's still laying on the ground, like gurgling. He lived, he's fine. But he's like gurgling blood. He's laying on the ground, and these homeless guys came over before we ever got there and are fighting over his bicycle that is now laying in the roadway. There's video of one of them. He's got a shank in his hand, and he's holding it like this, and he takes like a stance like this, and he's fighting 2 other homeless guys for the bike. They pick the bike up and leave, and then you see the first patrol cars come pulling up. I'm like, you can't make that shit up. I mean, because it's so crazy. Yeah. So it's like, you never know what you're going to see, like stuff like that. You're just like, what the fuck?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, man, one more night in a scout car. And just the whole feeling, like the feeling of being in a scout car.
Mhm.
Like everything, of course, back then we had MBTs. I was talking to Brian Piccolo the other day.
Mhm.
It's funny. I went on a ride along with him when I was with ATF. I came when I moved back up to Oklahoma City, and I went on a ride along with him, and he was like, "Yeah, I think you're my first ride along that found a stolen car." So yeah, that car's stolen. But we had the MBTs, and just the whole feeling of being in a scout car. It's like, the red light at night.
Oh yeah.
It's just so cool.
Yeah. It looks like cockpits now, man. We got the
Oh, yeah.
computer in there. There's your cameras up here. You're sitting in there. It's just like, we all have SUVs
Yeah,
now.
I wouldn't know what to do now.
Yeah, it's way
What is all this shit?
Yeah.
So let's go to the shooting we're going to talk about today, which was your second.
Second
Oklahoma
year,
City.
third overall. Yes.
Okay, so you're third overall, second Oklahoma City.
Mhm.
So let's if we can kind of set that up by, if you remember where it was in your shift, day 1, day 7, whatever, kind of like set up, if you remember kind of maybe the days leading up to that,
Mhm.
if you were off on,
Uh-huh.
maybe some of the calls, if you remember.
Yeah, sure. So it was in the summer of 2016. I don't remember what day I was working, but I know I had been on for a couple of days. And it was hot. It's the middle of the summer in Oklahoma, so it's like super hot, and we're busy. That's like so Spring Lake is very like hot or cold.
Mm-hmm.
So during the wintertime, there's like no calls. Like it just drops off the face of the earth. And during the summertime, it just blows up, and you're running, you know, all night long, call to call to call to call. So um, it was the beginning of the shift. We had just started. We had briefing. We have briefing at the station every day. At that point in time, one of our coworkers, she was pregnant, and so she was our report taker. And she comes in the briefing, and she's got a Brahms like ice cream, and she's eating Brahms ice cream, and I'm like, and it's like 110 outside, and so I'm like, damn, that looks really good, man. I'm gonna get some Brahms after this. This is a good idea. And so we end lineup, and I go to my car, and in my area, there's a Brahms at 16th and Classen. Still there,
Yeah.
still there. The
Yeah.
Brahms still there. And so I immediately leave the station, and I'm driving. I'm driving to Brahms. Haven't answered a call yet. There wasn't really a lot going on, and so just drive straight over to Brahms. I order a chocolate malt, and I'm sitting in the drive-through line, and a call comes out not too far. At like 13th and like Walker or something like that. It's off of 13th Street, and the Brahms is at 16th Street. And so I'm like, oh shit, it's a priority auto burglary. Guy just threw a brick through a window. And so a couple other officers key up to go to it. So I'm like, okay, they're going to it. I'm gonna get my malt. I'm gonna get my chocolate malt because it's still hot. And so I'm still sitting there. The call updates, and now it turned into a carjacking. And so these two girls were driving by. They see this guy throw the brick through a window of a car. So they pull over, and they think that he's, good meaning girls. They're like, hey, did you lock your keys in your car? No, this guy's, batshit crazy, grabs the brick, and now jumps in their back seat because their car's not locked. And now he's waving the brick around, and he's threatening them. And he's like, go drive me over here, drive me over here. So carjacks them. So the driver, she just starts driving. The passenger, she calls 911. She's like, oh my God, this guy just carjacked us. So I'm like, damn it. So I pull out of the drive-through line. I don't get my malt because now I'm like, all right, now it's like an actual person's crime. I got to go. And so we're trying to catch up to them, and they're driving around in the Heritage Hills area for people who know Oklahoma City. But and so we're like just behind them. They're at this intersection. So like a group, we're showing up, and we're like looking around. We're like, where are they? Oh, now they're over here because it's the delay, trying to get to us.
Mhm.
And finally, we find out he gets out of the car. He runs to it's either an AutoZone or an O'Reilly's. It's at 23rd and Western.
Yep.
He goes into the auto parts store, acting crazy. They call. They kick him out. So then he jumps on perfect timing. There's a city bus that pulls up right there. He jumps on the city bus, and he starts telling the bus driver, he pays, and he starts telling the bus driver to try and drive him down to the south side. And the bus driver's like, that's not how a bus works, man. This ain't a taxi. Um, so he starts acting crazy. The bus starts going westbound. We get updated that the bus is going westbound. It actually pulls over itself because the guy's acting so crazy. The bus driver's on his radio saying, hey, start the police over here. This guy's crazy. Bus pulls over at 23rd and Classen, and the first officer, she pulls up. She gets out, and she starts to walk up as people are getting off the bus because the bus driver's having everyone get off.
Mhm.
And she walks up to the front of the bus. I'm the second officer. I come pulling up behind. I get out. On the bus video, you can actually see her. She turns because she sees me walking up. And so then all of a sudden, I hear her start yelling, show me your hands, show me your hands. And she draws her gun out. And so she goes running up into the front of the bus. So I'm like, oh shit. So the back door is open. So I'm like right by the back door. So I'm like, oh, I think he's going to come running down this way, and I'm just going to tackle him as soon as he comes out. Because they said he was armed. The call notes didn't really say like what he was armed with. Later, come to find out it was a brick. But I'm like, I'm just going to tackle him as soon as he comes out this door. So I go up, I take 2 steps up the little stairs, and I poke my head over the chair, and I see her and him, and now they're wrestling over her gun. And so they're fighting over the gun. They move it a little bit. Boom, round goes off, and it goes. The bus driver's still sitting in his chair. and it goes literally right into the chair, like that far from hitting it in the side, right into the chair. So she starts screaming, and I'm like, oh shit. So I come out the back, I go sprinting up to the front of the bus. I come into the bus, and now they're in a full blown fight over her gun. So he's got his hand on top of it and wrapped around it. She's got one hand on the gun, and she's kind of trying to push him off, grabbed him. Well, he sees me come up the bus, and I'm drawn out, and I'm just telling her to move. I'm like, move, 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 you know? And he grabs her, turns her. So now he's got her in front of him, and he's still got a hold of the gun. They fall to the ground. We kind of all go down to the ground. I'm kneeling above him, and he takes the gun because now he's got basically full control of it, but she's on top of him kind of a little bit. And he turns the gun up like this. And so the streamlight or the surefire light that was on it is already on because they're messing with it and everything. So the light is just like, I see the light like right in my face. So I know, where that light's pointing is where the barrel's pointing. It's pointing right at me. So I grabbed the top of it and I actually pushed it down into her vest because I'm like, if it goes off, at least it'll go off into her vest. And he's trying to push it back up, and then I had mine out. I fire a couple of rounds into him, hit him in the chest. He's actually able to kick me, and I kind of stumble back a little bit, and then I push back down, fire several more rounds, hit him in the head. And once it hit him in the head, he was done. He starts, just the pool of blood just starts coming out. So now it's all over her back because she's on the ground. So now I have two guns. I have my gun in my hand. I have her gun in my other hand. I holster mine. I put hers on the seat real quick. I grab her. I show her off the bus. I grab her gun. So now I'm dual wielding again. And pass her off to actually Logan. And big Logan, he sees her, he grabs her and just with one arm and takes her away. Well, she's covered in blood. So at the time, all they hear is so right before the shots had been fired, everybody's coming up to the bus. All of our backups coming up to the bus. Well, the bus has that wrap on it to where you can see out, but you can't see in. So as they're coming up to the bus, all they can hear is gunshots going off. So they don't know where it's coming from. They don't know which door to enter for a crossfire and all that shit. So they're kind of held, trying to yell for me, like, where you at, where you at, where you at? And so once I pass her off, then they call out officer down because they first thought she was hit. So everybody in the city starts showing up. They put out a citywide all call that was, officers down at 23rd and Classen. Luckily, she wasn't hit at all. Just the bad guy was. It's just his blood. And then that was the end of that, man.
Wow. Got a lot of questions on that. So what was she shooting?
Glock. Yeah, we all had Glock 17s.
Everybody had Glock 17s.
Yeah. That's what we were issued. Yeah, Glock 17s.
So did she at some point lose control hand off the gun? You said he fully had control.
Yeah, he had it. So when they kind of go to the ground, she's got part of it, but he was the one, he had wormed his way in. He was the one in control of that gun.
So he was on the trigger.
Yes. At the time, we didn't realize. So when that first round went off, when his hand was on the slide, it didn't actually cycle. So that spent round was still, you don't know in the middle of it, but so that spent round. So he was trying, so afterwards, when they took the gun, his blood is all in the trigger because he had cut his hand or something like that, all in the trigger guard. He was trying to pull that trigger, but it didn't cycle, so there wasn't a fresh round in there. So that honestly, luckily saved me because I probably would have ate a round.
I was wondering, that was going to be another question because, when you got hands on gun, that it's not going to cycle.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Yeah.
So yeah, you were saved there.
Yes, I would. I got super lucky. Yeah, because I literally looked down the back because he rotates and then just pulls it up like this, and I'm staring at it, and I've got mine back like this, so he can't grab it, and I'm like, oh, and I grab it and push it down, and then pop, pop, pop.
Wow. And did you think he was initially maybe trying to use her as a hostage?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So this was also pre-body camera back then, but the buses all have camera. And so this actually made national news and all of that stuff because the bus has incredible camera. So you actually see him, he's fighting with her over that. And he looks at me as I'm coming up the bus and he reaches around her waist and turns her to me. So he's using her as a shield. And I'm literally yelling. I wanted her to just drop. Because I was like, I'm just gonna shoot him. I already know what's going on. I can see he's fighting over your gun. I'm gonna shoot him. Just drop. Just get out of the way. Get out of the way. And she was doing a good job because she was still fighting over her gun. So she's trying to hold on to that thing. And so yeah.
On the time code, did y'all figure out how long that went on?
Oh my god. It seems like a really long time,
Yeah.
but it was like less than 10 seconds. That whole thing is like less than 10 seconds.
10 seconds is a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
Very long time in a situation like that.
Yeah. But it felt
Wow.
like a minute, like you're up there doing all that stuff and stuff.
And so 9mm, both
Yep.
9mm.
Mhm.
And was the driver sitting in that seat when the
He was sitting right there. Yep, yep. You can see him like jump up and whoa.
he like hightail it off?
Oh yeah, when I
Yeah.
come running on, he runs off.
Yeah.
As I'm coming up into the bus.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, so it was on like ABC Nightly News. It was on all that stuff back in 2016.
So they get her off the bus, eventually, pretty quickly, probably find out she's not shooting.
Yeah, yeah. It was all bad guys' blood. Yeah.
What was the aftermath of that? With you and her, I'm assuming you guys were probably off for.
Oh yeah, it was off for so way different here. Like down in Florida, I was off for like a week.
Yeah.
Every shooting here has been like at least a month. Like you're off, you're put on like a light duty status or a restricted duty status, and so you're off for a while till you get cleared. It's just like it's a totally different experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was off for I don't even remember how long, a month or two.
Okay, so you're off a month or two, and then your next shooting was
20. It was 4 years later.
okay because you've gone through impact and gangs.
Yep. Went through impacts, went through gangs, went through all that, nothing, and then 2020 happens,
Wow.
and then I was in another one. Yeah.
We had talked about this before, which this was real interesting to me. You said your second shooting, there were no physiological effects.
No,
None at all.
no, none at all. And there was there was a handful of us, and we were in a bedroom. That guy had the quick story about behind that one was that guy had gone to the Red Dog. You know what the Red Dog's a really trashy strip club. Yeah, it's really trashy strip club out on 10th Street, like 10th and like Rockwell or something like that.
McCarthy?
Yeah, McCarthy. Yeah,
In between McCarthy and Ruff.
yeah. And so he goes out there, brings a stripper back to his house over on the east side, ends up tying her up, like legitimately tying her up, beating the crap out of her that night, and he raped her several times. She's tied up in a back bedroom. She ends up being able to get out of her restraints, opens a window, crawls out, and runs to OU Hospital, which is literally right down Lottie. So day shift actually got the call on that one. They surround the house. They're trying to find an owner to the house to see, there's no cars or anything. They didn't know if he was inside or not. So 2 shift comes on, my shift. We just go over there to relieve day shift. Well, right as we're getting ready to relieve them, they're getting ready to leave. Car pulls up, and it's bad guy's dad. And he goes, I don't know if he's in there or not, but here's the keys. You can go in there and check because we're going to hold the house because the scene is supposed to be in there and everything. So we stack up, open the door, we go into the house. Some officers go down the long hallway this way. Me and another guy, we peel off and go down like into the kitchen or something, then through into another bedroom. Well, we actually go into the back bedroom and find the rope is there. There's blood on the ground. The window's open. Like everything she said is right there. And so right when we find that, we hear from the bedroom yelling, show me your hands, show me your hands, show me your hands. So we go running into there. Guy's under the bed, comes out with a knife, won't respond to commands. He's just giving us this like death stare. There's like 4 or 5 of us in the room and a lieutenant. And lieutenant goes, does anybody have a taser? And I was like, oh shit, I actually have a taser. Because at the time we weren't all issued tasers. Now going through the academy, everyone's issued a taser. Okay. So back then there was always a certain amount.
You had to go through school for it.
Yep. So I actually had one. So I'm like, oh shit. So I take my gun in my left hand. I kind of put it down, draw my taser, fire at him. He's been tased before clearly because he pulls the sheet up and kind of blocks it. So one hits him, one kind of is like arcing through the sheet. So he's like eating it a little bit, and you can tell it's hurting him, but it's not like the full effect. Yeah. Well, the lieutenant starts to move up to cuff him. 5 seconds goes. He jumps up with the knife, tries to stab the lieutenant. So I just go with the left hand, and my first round hit him right here. And then subsequent rounds hit him, and then everybody, like there was like 4 other dudes standing next to me. They fire too and hit the guy. I heard every single round of that. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it was so loud.
So all the ones after the first, no,
nothing. Nope. No, I heard every round. Time never slowed down. It was just, yeah.
it's interesting to me because it makes me wonder, and I don't know. I don't. I mean, after my shooting, I really started looking at. I read the book Deadly Encounters by Alexis Artwall, which
Mhm.
she's amazing. She worked with CCW Safe. Uh, when we first started, she worked with us a lot on the aftermath of a shooting, and she's done all these studies of officer involved shootings. But it it makes me ask, is it, once our brain experiences this, that it
Mm.
kind of has a blueprint of, what's going to happen next. Because in that, the reason those happen is because when your heart rate gets up to a
Yeah.
certain point, your
Mhm.
brain starts to shut things down for survival.
Yeah. I believe
And
it.
so yeah, it makes me wonder, if you have experienced that and go through it, the next time
Mhm.
your brain has a better blueprint of what's going on and doesn't need to do it. I don't know. It's
Yeah. I mean, I believe
like
it here because, like I said,
something I'd like to find out.
yeah, yeah, because literally on all the other ones, I heard every single round. I still couldn't tell you how many rounds I fired.
Yeah.
That's just I don't go
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
2, 3,
That's yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I heard every single one, so
Wow.
full out. So
So anything come out of that shooting as far as legal action
no,
or
no,
no?
no, on that one on the east side, family never did anything. Bus one, same thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Is the female officer still on?
she is not. She is
Not
not. She left the department, a year or 2 after that, she left
okay.
the department. Yeah.
So let's just kind of wrap it up. Let me ask you this question.
Mhm.
Do you feel that what impacts did your shooting have on you? And I'm just going to kind of tell you in mine, I was treated different,
Mhm.
a lot different on the department. It's almost like you're in the club
Mhm.
or you're in you have a status.
That's
Uh,
100% true. That is
I
100%.
felt that, you know, my dad asked me one day, he said, "Hey, do you ever think about those guys?" I'm like, every day. Not that I would do anything different,
Mhm.
I mean, it's just kind of a part of your story,
Mhm.
and it's part of who you are and your life, and, mine led to, the creation of CCW Safe, which
Mhm.
has been an ama sometimes I feel like I've lived 8 different lives, with all the stuff with the photography and the CCW Safe and stuff. So, do you feel like what you've been through with 5, I mean, 5 is just insane.
Mhm.
Um, what impact do you think it's had on you?
Yeah, people definitely look at you a little differently. Um, like good and bad, I guess.
Mhm.
Good and bad. None of us ever want to be in any. I'm not saying like, oh, you got to be in a shooting to be in the cool
Right.
club or anything like
Right.
that. No, not at all. Nobody wants to be. I don't want to be in anymore. Like if I go,
Right.
fucking Christ, if I go the rest of the time and I never have one, I'll be super happy. But it's just part of it, and
Mhm.
so I think it's more of if you can handle yourself under those kind of situations. I think it's just the more of a respect kind of a thing,
Mhm.
and yeah, 5's a lot. I think people also when it comes to the bad, they go, "Oh, man, that's kinda crazy, man." Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Um, I there's probably some people in command who really think that that's too many and would like
Yeah.
for me to go hide somewhere in a hole or something like
Mhm.
that, but I don't wanna do that either. But yeah, it's just like I'm very much do I think about Crispin at times? Absolutely,
Mhm.
yes. Do I think about any of the people I was in shootings with, the bad guys? No, not at all. If they would have done what I told them to do, none of this would have ever
Right.
happened. And I think because Crispin happened first and then all of these things happened, I just look at it totally differently because like I don't want my family to have to go through what Crispin's family went through. Like I
Mhm.
had to see his mom and his dad at the hospital and everything like that. And I think about that. And
Mhm.
so, it I don't want them to have to go through that. So I try not and once again, not that he did anything wrong. It was just
Right.
the way it is. If
Just
they just did what they if they did what I told them to do, none of this would have ever happened.
mhm.
And so that's on them.
And that's all over a bag of weed,
All over, yeah, start over a
you know,
fucking bag of
which is horrible.
yep.
And that's a good point. I think, having that experience before probably gave you, you know, a very clear perspective on everything. And
There's a line, like, I have a line, like, I will give you to this line, but when that line's done, you're done, dude. I'm not yeah, you're done. It's me or you at that point, and it's gonna be me.
and that's one thing, you know, that I think is important for people to understand, not even just dealing with police, but people looking at, you know, people who, you know, look and get involved in these shootings, you know. I've been involved in a case before that was a case that, you know, all the stars jumped on and, you know, oh, this guy's in his, and, you know, people people make decisions that have consequences. And it's not the police officer is not the one that is making he's ultimately making the decision to stop the action.
Yep.
But that person, like you said, they're the ones who are taking the actions that are leading up to what's going to happen. They're going to be the deciding factor in what happens.
They would have every single one of them would have went in handcuffs and gone to jail. That is literally the worst thing that would have happened to all of them. But they chose to do that, so
Yeah.
yeah.
So what's ahead of you here in Oklahoma City? You got 12, 13 years on now?
Yeah, I'm coming up on 13, so, I'm gonna do the full 30, 30 here, so that'll be 33 total. I enjoy what I'm doing now. I'm a supervisor, so I actually have a lot of fun doing that. I'm a patrol supervisor. I have 7 guys. I'm actually Sector 2, Spring Lake, so I have the east side, like MLK and all of that. That's mine.
Nice.
And so
Got a good group of guys.
yeah, I have a good group of guys. They're younger, but they're a more senior 2-shift, because 2-shift a lot of times is a pretty young 2-shift, but the group of guys who have been on that 2-shift right now have been all together for years, and they're all sergeants now. So sergeants for us is you're 5 years, and then you get to take a sergeant's test, and you become a sergeant. It's more like a pay bump and all of that,
Right.
but it's not like a supervisory role. Our first supervisor is a lieutenant for us, and so
And when did you become lieutenant?
2023.
23.
23.
I think one of the biggest things with you, I mean, you've got so much experience, that you'd be a great lieutenant,
No,
and you'd be able to really, yeah, that's one of the things I think that Matt Patton had talked about. You know, one of the things he really wanted was to be able to support his guys and make them better. And I think, you know, with your experience, there's no doubt, and your personality and the person you are, you know, I'd fucking work for you.
oh shit.
I'd be one of the very few that there were a few that I loved. I had some great lieutenants.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
Had some not
We've all
great
had bad lieutenants,
Yeah.
yes, and captains and all of that.
So do you have your eye on captain? Do you want to go up any further?
I don't know. Maybe some. I won't say never, but as of right now, no. I'm super happy just doing what I'm doing, and but I have, yeah, what is that? 2043 is my retirement year, so that's a long ways away. But as of right now, no. I truly love being a lieutenant.
Yeah.
Like, I still get to go to the calls, I still get to go have fun, I still get to do all of that stuff, but I also don't have to go to, you know, a traffic accident.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, go work that you know. Good job, buddy. So
Well, and that's one thing with a lieutenant, I think, that has an edge on a captain is, I mean, a captain would be like a really easy job. I'm not gonna say easy job, but
yeah, you're the middleman.
but you're the middleman.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And but with a captain, you have, I think you have a little more freedom as a lieutenant to stay in contact with the
Yeah, you can move around a lot more. So, like, every time you promote, you move around less.
Yeah.
You know, because there's only so many spots you can go. So as a lieutenant, you can still do other things and everything like that. Once you become a captain, you shrink yourself down. Then if you become a major, you shrink yourself down even more. And then deputy chief, there's only like 5 of them. So 4 or 5 of them. So
I have two last questions just to end on. I've seen a lot recently, you know, de-escalation in police has become, that's the big, you know, term now, de-escalation. I've seen some things kind of starting to come out that a lot of people are thinking that, you know, de-escalation is, well, it's good, but it can be used overboard. It can have officers put into situations that make it worse. And as a lieutenant, you know, as a supervisor, what are your thoughts?
no, I 100% agree. We've always been de-escalating. Like police have always been de-escalating.
That's our job.
Yes,
Really
yes.
is.
Do any of us want to escalate the situation? No. Most of us don't. Um, but you 100% because they harp on it so much. Command does, and the news media and all that stuff. Well, why didn't they de-escalate? Why didn't they de-escalate? Sometimes when you see videos and stuff, you don't see the 15 or 20 minutes that the officers were trying to de-escalate this whole thing, and then all you get is this little blip where something happens. So yes, officers do it, but I've seen where officers, by firsthand, have seen officers de-escalate too much to where, you know, we get to a point where now it gets worse.
Mhm.
Like, just sometimes it's good to just end the situation quickly. Like when I first started back in the day, and it still applies now. I'm sure you've heard it. You ask them, tell them, make them. I mean, that's 3 strikes, you're out. Like, you ask them, hey bud, come on, I need you to do this. Okay, now I'm telling you, this is what we're gonna do. You're gonna put your hands behind your back, bud. Come on, put them back behind your back. And then at that point, you've given them the chance. Now you're making them put their hands behind their back. And so
I think when de-escalation is used and it goes on and on, I think it emboldens
it does. Yeah.
the suspect or the criminal or whoever is
Mhm.
there. It emboldens them to just push it.
Mhm. And certain times, every situation is completely different. So, like, certain times we have time to where we can de-escalate for 30, 40 minutes. If we got a guy contained completely and we've surrounded something and he's just right there, he's not, doing what we're trying to get him to do, and we have time and all of that. Yeah, we can sit there on the PA and call to him, and we can have everything. We have, 40 millimeter impact munitions and tasers and beanbag shotguns and shields. And we have drones that, we have all kinds of crazy stuff now. And so when you have time like that, you can do
Mhm.
a lot
A
more
lot.
like that. But in certain situations out in the field, when it's happening quickly, that's, man, sometimes it's not time for de-escalation. It's time to stop them. That
Mhm.
is a form of de-escalation. If you stop them, it's done and it's over. So
Yeah. Good point. Last question, then we're going to end on this. The whole goal of this podcast is to, humanize officers. With the debacle that's gone on the last, 6 years of defund the police and the media and all this, we want people to see what police officers do, because I really don't think people understand what they do.
mhm.
And but talking to somebody, I'm a 19-year-old kid and I want to be a cop. Give me your spill.
Whew, that's hard, man. Where's my recruiting unit? That's what we need. Man, it is truly a job that you will enjoy. It's a job that actually means something. I feel like, they always just say it's not just a job; it's a career. It's something that means something. I'm, like I said before, we're not just like filing paperwork. I'm not doing TPS reports, and I got a guy coming over, with a cup of coffee bothering me. But you're out in the field and you're doing things and you're seeing people, and it truly does make you feel good when, yes, we deal with a lot of shit. Yes, we deal with a lot of bad guys. We get yelled at all the time. But when you actually help, like, good people are always going to like the police. Like,
Mhm.
that's the way it is. When you see not good people and they actually like, thank you, you did so great. Thank you so much. It does make you feel good. And then plus it's just exciting. Like, you get to do a lot of cool stuff. Like, you get to drive fast. I know this is like the whatever version of it, but you get to drive fast, you get to do cool things. You go to stuff that most people will never see in their entire life. You will laugh harder than you've ever laughed before, but you will also be scared shitless, when you're by yourself in the dark, going down an alleyway where a guy just ran and you lost sight of him and now you don't know where he is. You don't know if he has a gun or not. You're trying to go around a corner. Is he standing right behind that corner? You're like scared shitless, but it's just part of it. So every day is something different. And so that's why I love it so much. It's fun.
Awesome. Well, man, thanks for being here.
Thank you, sir.
Love you.
Ah,
Anytime you need anything, let us know if there's anything
this
we
was
can do
super
for
awesome.
you.
Thank you so much.
And thanks for coming on and sharing
Yeah.
your story.
Thank you.